Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fetch Quest podcast, where we talk about video games and more. I'm your host, Guy, joined by my fellow co-host, Brewer,
Hey, everybody.
Connor,
Hello.
and Liam.
Hi.
Hi, boys. So, we got a recording going on today, and before we get into it, I want to know, how is everyone today? How are we doing on this fine afternoon?
I'm not doing too good actually.
Oh man, what's that, Liam? What's wrong?
I've got a big Smash tournament coming up, and I know it's cringe, and I'm really nervous.
Don't worry, Liam. You can do it.
Yeah, dog. I mean, come on. You've played in other tournaments before. You can do this. I believe in you.
Out of curiosity, how long has it been since you competed, though, Liam?
Last time was a Melee tournament when it came out.
Bruh.
Oh no. Oh.
Oh gosh. Okay, Liam. I'm gonna be honest. We're gonna have to explain some stuff to you.
Tournaments have changed a lot since then.
Yeah, and we better explain to Liam how they've changed through today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking about video game tournaments, specifically fighting game tournaments, and how they've evolved over the years. What are fighting game tournaments? How have they evolved over the years? Has the formatting changed? And is it worth getting into competitive FGC for the tournaments? All
No.
talked about in today's episode. No, it's not. Quick answer, no. I'm kidding. It's great.
Long answer, no.
Even longer.
Yeah.
Even longer answer. No.
Okay, joke
But,
aside, though. What do you guys
yeah,
think? You guys are probably the ones biggest on this compared to me, so I want to know your thoughts real quick.
Okay, so here's the thing about like fighting game tournaments. Like when I was like little, like before we like get into it, I just want to say like I used to be really invested in I would say more invested into fighting games than I am now. But like when I was little, I was so intimidated by the fact that like, oh, fighting games look really hard. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to do it. And then it's like, as soon as I entered like an FGC, I just realized like how much fun it is to compete. And also it's just like I feel like the formatting for fighting games like nowadays also just allows like more people to get used to a tournament setting. So I feel like this is just a better time than ever to talk about like fighting game tournaments and how they changed, because the format of how a tournament would be set up is so different now compared to when it first started. And I think that also is because like of the adaptations and also the changes that games and their subsequent sequels have made to themselves to accommodate for those changes.
Yeah, I was just about to say, fighting games have become a lot more accessible in general, especially like almost any big fighting game releasing now, or like that's been a bit more traditional and not named Super Smash Brothers. A lot of them have like a modern control scheme you can choose from. Like, Street Fighter has it, Tekken, Guilty Gear, a lot of big fighting games that show up in EVO. You can play that with like simpler control options to try to get used to the game.
Not only that, but like that's also, they aren't just viable options. Like I know in Japan specifically, a lot of players like to use those modern controls just because like they have like you can have quicker reactions with them, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know there's one game, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, not super popular, but you could map some buttons to be like the simple commands, and other ones you'd have to actually put in the input. But a lot of people would still use a mix of both, because like no matter what you did, some inputs would always be faster with the simple command, even if you're really good at nailing them down. Especially if it was like a double quarter circle or something,
Yeah. No, that game in particular, I know like has like really easy, simple inputs of like hit a direction and then hit one button and you do like a DP. But it's all, I know that game works off like cooldowns, so like you can't spam the same special over and over again. So you have to be tact, like you have to have some tact with it, which is pretty cool. But like going back into like the tournament scene of it, I do want to like, I am glad we're talking about today's episode because if you look at just like fighting games now, it seems like there's a major for like every single fighting game there is, like happening like every weekend. So hell, even sometimes like on the same weekend at like big tournaments like EVO and whatnot. And it's just like I want to talk about how it got so big.
Yeah, I do think one aspect we could jump into real quick before we like maybe go into the roots is that obviously for every game, not just fighting games, online is a big factor now. Like, we don't all have to be together to play these games, so it can be a lot easier to also host smaller tournaments, like online ones, even if they aren't like nearly as viable, especially like in Smash Bros. Case, because fuck Switch Online. But that can at least get people excited, or at least build up a bigger community around doing more in-person events, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no, that is just real. But I do want to, I do think that, like, just to, like, also hop into it a little bit, I do think, like, it is kind of crazy how, like, this, like, thrive for, not thrive, but I want to say, like, this interest in fighting games kind of started with the 90s in terms of, like, when Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat first hit the arcades, and just how, like, how many people were wanting to go to these arcade machines and just play with one another. And I feel like this is, like, a very good starting point for, like, well, it literally is the starting point. That's how fighting games started. But, like, a sense of, like, competition started here in the arcades, and then it would grow into something more and more. So, like, first you have Street Fighter 2 with The World Warrior, which came out in 1991. Very simple game. You only have, like, a few characters to choose from. It expanded upon the ideas of Street Fighter 1, where Street Fighter 1 was more of a beat-em-up game than it was a fighting game. But basically, like, they emphasized, like, hey, this game is about fighting other people, and each character has their own unique movesets, and this was, like, the first, I want to say, like, competitive, not really competitive fighting game, but, like, I want to say player versus player fighting game where you could combo stuff together.
Yeah,
like, combos did exist.
It was definitely rough around the edges because inputs were a lot harder to put in. That I could have worded that better. But also, some of the machines weren't exactly built to what I would say is competitive standards. Because, fun fact, a couple of the machines, not all of them, mind you, these machines are actually kind of rare. You could hit some of the buttons and they were like big pads, because depending on how hard you hit them, you would throw out a light, medium, or a heavy. So you'd be playing the game, and some people would just be smashing into the the pads to try to, like, input their attacks right, instead of just having a couple standard buttons. So that definitely wasn't the best for the competitive scene, you know?
Yeah, well, I also don't think they were really, like, thinking for a competitive scene at that point. They were just, like, kind of testing the waters with, like, what they could do for, like,
that's what I mean.
PvP.
The game, like you were saying, the game was kind of more beat 'em up designed, so they weren't really thinking, oh man, this would be great for a competitive scene or player versus player. Because if, like, let's say Street Fighter 6 came out with, like, a controller where you had to slap the paddle, see how hard you get it for your inputs, I don't think anybody would be buying that shit. You know?
I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Yeah, I completely.
That doesn't mean masters don't exist, though. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, that
Yeah,
will never go
and
away.
it's me.
They
They're
exist
all
in
led by Connor.
every fighting game known to man, because no play style is out of contention for a fighting game.
True. But yeah, no. This is, like, kind of an important start for, like, fighting games, because, like, this is just, like, this gave, like, people a sense of, like, ooh, I want to fight my friends in this game. I can go to an arcade, put a quarter in, and fight them for a round. That's fun. But I feel like this is just, like, a bare bones, like, kind of start to it. I feel like the real competitiveness started with, like, the next generation of fighting games after this, and specifically talking about Mortal Kombat 3 and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. Oh my goodness. This was the shit. This was the shit back in the day. Now, before I get some of those FGC fans a little angry, no, Street Fighter 3 at first actually was not received that well. Not Third Strike, but, like, the original version. Third Strike is actually the final version of the game that
Most popular
people.
version.
Yeah, that's the most popular version, because they feel like it's the most balanced and has, like, the best mechanics. People did not like not Third Strike. People didn't like 3 at first, which is really, like, interesting to see, because, like, people often renown this as, like, the best fighting game ever.
I mean, I guess it does kind of make sense, because, like, Street Fighter 2 is what really put Streeter into the limelight, and Third Strike did not have a lot of the Street Fighter 2 characters. I think it was just Ryu, which, yeah, main character, no shit, he's gonna be in the game. Ken, his copy, and then Chun-Li, the hot lady. So
Yeah, no, those are the only characters they brought back. Everyone else, they felt they were able to fill out the other archetypes with other characters. So, like, let's say what's his name? Hugo. They filled a Hugo for like the grappler Zangief. That some of there isn't really like a zoner in the game, so I'm not gonna say like Dulcim or Guile got replaced because I'm gonna be real, they're kind of unique in terms of like their zoning styles, but like basically it felt similar enough, even if it wasn't some of the same characters. And I feel like you said, I do feel like that is just like a big reason as to why like people didn't like it at first. But I feel like they felt like they warmed up to it just because of how much shit they added, and like this game in particular, like. Oh my god, they added parrying where if you held forward like in a certain amount of frames when you're getting attacked, you do a parry which gives you invincibility and you're able to act out of it immediately to attack them. You have supers now, which before someone corrects me in the comments, yes, there were supers in other versions of Street Fighter 2, but not the first version. But like supers were more available. Comboing was even better in this one. Like, yes, they're still hard technically, but also like there's just more combos you can do and more like cooler combos. Like you'd have, I think this was, I think.
Well, then they did streamline it a bit more. The inputs weren't nearly as harsh because I can, if I go to pick up Third Strike in Street Fighter 2, like I may be lucky to get like 3 hits in as a combo, whereas Third Strike I can easily do like much longer strings, like 7-10 hits, you know, because the game was more so designed around that. Street Fighter 2 combos originally started out as like kind of a glitch, and then they were like, you know what, this actually kind of fucks. Let's keep working with this.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that is like, this game, people realized that there just like was a scene with this, and also same with Mortal Kombat 3. A lot of people love that game a lot. It implemented it wasn't too far off from, let's say, Mortal Kombat 2, but like some of the big changes that they made besides the roster being larger was the fact that they also included more mechanics for special canceling. They were basically taking some stuff off of Street Fighter 2 and applying it to their game, but with just a bigger roster, and also I would say a more balanced roster. Not entirely balanced, don't get me wrong, there's some broken shit in that game, but like people were starting to realize, okay, this is something that can be serious. This is something that like we can like see like ourselves playing competitively. And that is when I feel like this drive for tournaments is when we really start seeing like a lot of like fighting games become really popular, especially as like competitive scenes, like the tournaments themselves. What were we gonna say, Connor?
I was gonna say, like, this is where we start to begin to see stuff like, I don't think exactly EVO, but stuff that would begin to lead up to EVO and the creation of that.
Yeah, no, locals would like, there'd be locals now, like local venues would start popping up everywhere in the late 90s and especially in the early 2000s.
Yeah, we'll say it is very necessary for that change as well, because before we moved too far off with arcades, like arcades did start dying off around that time, so it was pretty necessary that like the community started caring about these games more and more to actually like host venues around it, because instead of just going to the arcade all the time.
Yeah, no, that is true. Cause this is also the era with like this is the era of like the N64 and the game, like beginning of like the GameCube era. So like games like the fighting game era of like the arcades are kind of leaving because all those games are not only being ported to consoles, which obviously it's debatable which version is better for some games, whatnot, but this is like when we start seeing a shift of like, why waste the drive and the quarters to an arcade when I could just buy it for like a certain amount of money and just play it at my house with my friend.
Yeah, well, especially more so just like actually versions that were equal to the arcade versions, because like Street Fighter 2, if we look at like the Genesis and Super Nintendo versions, those are still great versions of the game. Don't get me wrong, you can still have a lot of fun with those, can't go wrong with them. Compared to the arcade versions, and you're gonna be missing out, obviously, especially with some stuff graphically as well, and just the way the game actually runs. Whereas now, and especially like back then, as like consoles kept getting more and more powerful, the divide between what you could do on a console versus what you could do on the arcades, the gap has like become almost non-existent.
No, that's completely fair.
Most big arcade games that you can't run like at home anymore is mostly just because of special peripherals or stuff, like light gun games and all those types, or ones that have like big giant controls.
Yeah, no, I get that. I also feel like sometimes it's just kind of hard for at the time. It's kind of hard to map those buttons all to like a single controller. Like you literally cannot map Street Fighter 2 to a SNES just because of like the control scheme of like the SNES and just how the controller works. So like there's just some like limitations there. But
what aspects specifically? I'm mostly bringing this up because
there's only 4 buttons.
It was ported to the Super Nintendo, and the way it did work is I'm assuming you're talking about how there's like light, medium, and heavy, and there's obviously that makes 6 attacks when you have punches and kicks.
Yeah,
usually
it's 6 buttons. Yeah.
Yeah, because what a lot of the companies would do, and it did very much depend on controllers, because controllers didn't really get standardized at that point. But I know for the Super Nintendo version, because I have played it on my SNES Classic, you'd have light punch and kick be on 2 of the face buttons, medium punch kick be on 1 of the other face buttons, and then the heavies would just be mapped to the shoulder buttons, the L and R.
Yeah, that's.
So
yeah,
you still had enough buttons.
Okay, sorry. Dude, I'm gonna be completely real. I forgot that controller had shoulder buttons.
Hey,
that makes so much sense, though.
Hey, that's why I have the retro guy in here. That may
Exactly.
or may not have spent too much money on old stuff I don't need.
Because you're old.
Thank you.
Don't say that.
Thank you.
You know what, Connor? No
Thank you so
birthday
much for
present for you
correcting.
anymore. For calling me old.
Punk still got it.
On your next birthday, when you're, I'm just gonna send you a card that says you're old now. See how you like it.
Unk does not still.
Connor will officially have old man status. 21 is a big age, man.
He'll be able to drink.
Oh my god. But yeah, no, thank you for correcting me on that. I actually didn't know that. But yeah, no, that's just
You're right.
That's just like one of the
again,
limitations
the
of like, fighting games.
Yeah, the controllers back then were not standardized, so in a couple cases, like I think on some Genesis versions, you had to like click select to swap between what versions of the punches and kicks you were using.
Oh,
it was weird. It was weird,
That
man.
sounds
Dude,
like
really?
such a
That is
horrible
weird.
way to play the game. Ew.
Yeah, that's why you would still go to the arcade, so you don't have to deal with that bullshit, you know?
He's spoiled by Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, well, that and
Actually.
also a lot of controller options, like modern controllers having a fuck ton of buttons, even like back paddle buttons that you can map, that and fight sticks being common to buy.
I also have a special controller that gives me 6 face buttons. So there are definitely workarounds. They're not cheap workarounds, but they are workarounds.
Yep. No, the games are very accessible to like a lot of different
Fighting
people.
game controllers are kind of insane, but they're never necessary.
That is true.
That's the best part, that they aren't necessary.
Cause like a
Off
leverless
topic, yeah.
leverless controller, that's my dream controller, but it's also like $200.
Yeah. Stuff gets pricey. But if you're dedicated enough to the game, then I guess it's worth it for you.
Oh, I want to get good at the video game.
I will say this, controller, like, obviously people do like using leverless controllers for fighting games, but I will say this, specifically for Street Fighter 6, 2024 EVO in the United States, third place was a 16-year-old or a 17-year-old. He's a teenager. Point is, he got third place using an Xbox controller.
It is
That's
true.
awesome. I know, I think the second player, Lil Majin, who played, like, King, he was known for, like, using a, like, PS4 DualSense controller, even though, like, King is a character you don't want to play that on. That or, there's another Tekken player who was known for, like, swapping to either a fight stick or pad, depending on what character he was using. Because some control schemes are better for other characters, depending on what motions you have to do, you know?
The definition of just
That makes
being
sense.
different.
Yeah, no, like a character like Zangief has a thing called an SPD, and that requires a full circle before you can perform the move, which sounds crazy because if you go...
Two of them, actually, sometimes.
Yes. If you go in a full circle, you will jump, and you will not get the move if you jump. So there are like ways around this that are insane that I don't even know that well because I don't play Zangief. But different types of controllers can perform it much easier than others. Like, funnily enough, the leverless controller is probably the hardest controller to perform an SPD on. You'd rather have a analog stick or a arcade stick in order to perform it, which is really funny.
Wait, Liam, do you know, wait, you don't know how to do the easy SPDs?
I know how to do them, but I'm just saying that it's a lot easier to do on a different controller. I also don't play Zangief.
No, I get that, but like you know what I'm talking about when you do like the semicircle down and then forward up and then grab. Okay, I was just making sure because I was like, wait, it sounds like he doesn't know, but okay, I was just making sure. There is an easy way to do an SPD. It still you still have to like commit to it though because if you don't do it right, you will be jumping in the air, which is just bad.
Because in fighting games that aren't... No, and fighting games in general, if you jump, you do not get to block in like most fighting games. I know there are some exceptions, like Dragon Ball Fighters and Marvel and Capcom. I guess not every fighting game. Maybe just not tag fighters.
But a decent amount.
Majority of fighting games,
being in the air
hold
is
back
typically
block.
bad. Yeah.
I think it might just be tag fighters are different.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot more... Oh yeah, the tag fighters are different because there's a lot of silly things with, assists.
So true.
Big truth.
Yeah, no, that is real though. But going back into it, like this is also like a big like change up with like now that I'm glad that we like talked about controllers and like the difference now because there's more controller variety with like this console generation we're in. There are more people who are able to like access different fighting games on their consoles. Now, obviously, people are still going to prefer fight sticks to like perform a lot of these actions, but that doesn't mean that these games are getting any less exposed. And this is when we get introduced to some big tournaments, such as EVO-lution, or EVO for short, which was created in 1996 and got popularized in the early 2000s and is continuing to grow as we speak.
There's a certain...
It's now owned by PlayStation. Am I right about that?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we could look it up, but I feel like with the introduction in EVO and stuff like that, this is like a moment in time where we started to see the rise of like fighting game tournaments online.
This is true because that's when because like they streamed no they didn't stream their games because that's still like this is like before like the rise of YouTube and everything, but like this is when like technology is getting better. We're getting like more we're getting cell phones to record shit on like that. This is huge. That means more people are getting exposed to what there is. And there's this particular moment that has just been immortalized in internet history for the amount of skill it took to perform and such an amazing reversal. The EVO Moment 37 is beautiful. The Daigo parry, you've heard of it. Justin Wong
hates it.
Justin! Everyone knows it.
Dude, I love how he's still haunted by it to this day.
I mean, yeah, dude. They've created a I don't know if it's just like an EVO museum, but there is a like big fighting game like museum in history for the history and stuff like that. And there's literally like a panel where you can play EVO Moment 37.
It's kind of crazy. Imagine having your biggest defeat be immortalized at a museum. Damn, bro.
That's crazy.
You got wiped.
It's quite funny though. I think actually at last year's EVO, they had EVO moment number. Oh, was it 36 or 37?
38.
38.
Are you talking about the one with the Hugo player?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I saw that. That was hype.
Oh my god.
And that's what
for
fighting
context,
games are so good at, is creating extremely high pressure, high intensity moments at a frequency that other games I think can be very slow. But with fighting games, minus Smash Bros, because it has a 7-minute timer, the games go by very quickly. So even if someone zones, the zoning probably won't last for more than a minute or two.
True.
That is true. That is also something I do want to bring up. This is particularly a Smash thing, and it can differ depending on the game, of course. Like Marvel vs. Capcom 3 does not have rounds. It just has HP bar. Same with Dragon Ball Fighters, but basically like tag fighters, pretty much. It's based off HP. There is a timer, but there are no rounds, so it's not a best of 3 to win the game. It is just whoever has the most HP at the end, or you deplete all the HP of your opponent. This is something that's a little different for Smash Bros. However, the community legit will just make up a rule set when the game comes out for competitive and just run by it for the rest of the game. So in Melee, we have 4 stocks because of how quote-unquote fast Melee is and just how easy it is to get 0 to death. So they have 4 stocks to like make it as even as possible and give people more chances to come back. And then in contrary, you have Super Smash Bros. 4 or for Wii U, which only had 2 stocks because that game, to be fair, it was really sluggish, and that games just were lasting way too long at 3 stocks. And then you have Smash Ultimate, which is like a really good middle ground where it's not too fast, but it's also not slow as fuck. It's still like a pretty fast game, all things considered, but it's not like 0 to deathy like Melee, so there was just only 3 stocks that were needed. And I think that's just a really interesting thing for like that FGC in particular, is that like they kind of have to make the rules as time goes on. Meanwhile, like every Street Fighter game, okay, there's going to be a best of 3 or best of 3, best of 5, depending on where you're on bracket. But pretty much, if you win a game, you won 2 rounds first.
Yeah. One thing, I think in Smash's case, it's because it's one of the very few fighting games that has its own publisher wanting to shoot itself in the foot most of the times. Especially when it comes to anything competitive, because Nintendo has notoriously hated the competitive scene. Especially even like asking EVO to like remove Melee and Smash a bunch of times. I mean, hell, it's not even in EVO anymore.
Oh yeah, no. Smash Ultimate was in EVO for what, 2 years, 1 year? It was very short.
Smash Ultimate, I think it's just 1 year.
It was a very short.
You guys do know the reason for that, right? Like,
well, I do know there's some other reasoning, especially with COVID happening, but I'm also referencing the fact that that before that, Nintendo like,
was very
purposely tried to strike down like Melee, and this is way before like they removed it of their own volition.
It was also due to the fact that Melee used a mod, and then Nintendo didn't like them using a mod for a game that is no longer supported.
Decades old game.
I'm talking about the straw that broke the camel's back. Okay.
No, I know there was a lot of other stuff that led to that, but I'm also talking about their notorious history with the competitive scene as well.
No, that's completely fair. I'm probably not going to mention the straw that broke the camel's back because that deals with a very sensitive subject, but yeah, basically Smash competitively is just a mess, like in terms of like trying to get it organized and just trying to find like a way to make it work, which is something that other fighting games just don't have to deal with because their publishers love them.
Yeah, then have actual pot bonuses as well and try to support their games. Because Nintendo, if you don't play the game the way they want you to, they hate you for it a lot of times.
Oh, you made a really cool fan game about our game? Wow, that's so cool. Take it down.
What's that? You wanna You want to play Smash without items, so it's fair and balanced? No, fuck you.
You wanna play 3-lap tracks on the brand new Mario Kart game?
Nope, you got to do all the shitty intermissions nobody likes. Still can't believe that's a fucking thing.
you're really good at Splatoon 3, our competitive shooter that we've built up to be a competitive shooter. Oh, that's so cool. $20 for first place.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because Splatoon was one of the ones they actually tried to support, but is the most half-assed support you could give. Dude, I'm pretty sure when we hosted our own little Fetch Quest tournament, we had a bigger payout than Nintendo.
We did. Oh my god, we actually did with our Smash tournament. That's crazy.
Oh my god, we outdid Nintendo. Let's go, guys.
So true.
$20
Fetch Quest better.
Insane.
Dude, you know what's fucked about it? It wasn't just $20. It was a $20 Nintendo gift card. So it's just going back to them.
Yeah.
Dog.
It's wild.
Yeah, no, it's bad. It's bad. But yeah, no, going back to like other fighting games, so the ones that are actually like supported by the developers, we start to see a rise, like with like the rise of tournaments such as Evolution and other like big majors for tournaments. Not only that, but online exposure with YouTube being prevalent and just like the beginning of like recorded VODs and whatnot. Fighting games are just becoming more popular, and that brings us kind of into like the next era, which is arguably the era we're in right now, where fighting games are now made online. You have online play with them now, so because of that, you are able to connect with multiple people and constantly play with other players. You don't have to rely on waiting for your friend to arrive, waiting on your friend's mom to drop him off for the sleepover to play Street Fighter 3. You don't have to win that anymore.
Have you guys ever seen that? Have you guys ever seen that photo? I think they were playing like Under Night and Birth or something. I forget what the name is, especially because it's a wild name each time. But they were playing it like they had the setup on top of the toilet or something, and were playing in the bathroom.
No, I haven't seen that way.
Dude, it's a funny photo. It's like that's how they got their tournament started off.
Now I'm in. Hold on. I'm interested. I gotta hear.
Yeah, I'm interested in this.
No, I mean a lot of the tournaments they started out as just a couple of friends playing the game with each other, and everyone gets really invested to keep playing in these games and keep getting better and better. And in Under Night and Birth's case, that started out with in someone's house. They didn't have a lot of room, and they had like the monitor on top of the toilet seat. That's how they were playing.
Dude,
that's awesome.
That is awesome.
You gotta do what you gotta do to get better. I'll see if I can find the photo.
Dude, that's goated. That's really funny. Oh my god. Hey, look, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to like get a tournament together. But yeah, no, this is kind of like we're kind of in the era of like online fighting games now, where this is before rollback. We're not there yet, but like basically this is where delayed base netcode is still a thing. But even if it is kind of iffy, we're now able to play with other people online. We constantly have access to people that we can play with, and because of that, people have more motivation to get better because of that investment. And that's when we start seeing the rise of fighting games. And obviously, like, there is like that stigma in this like era of like, oh, fighting games are still really hard, and well, I like Mortal Kombat more, yada yada. But it's still on the rise. Like even like these tournament numbers just keep going up and up. But the thing is that like, because there's more exposure, developers are keeping in mind that more and more people are coming to their game and are interested, so that when they do re-releases for their game or a new title in the series, they try to account for that.
Yeah. Also, I do want to make a quick little off-topic thing, because if I don't, Under Night players and Melty Blood players are going to crucify me. That photo that I was talking about came from Melty Blood.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying, because we could have gotten a really angry comment saying, no, this isn't right. You was the wrong game.
Yeah, no, I was just looking up to try to find a photo to show you guys, and I was like, oh shit, I fucked it up. I mixed them up.
Wait, that's really funny. I'm looking at that image right now.
Yeah,
Holy
I put it in our channel.
dog, why is his monitor in the sink? What the fuck?
It's so funny, but I respect it all the same.
That's beautiful. Oh my
That is
god.
genuinely amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That shows how dedicated you are to your game if you're willing to play like that.
Oh god, that's so funny.
Yeah, we all got to start from somewhere, you know.
No, literally.
Like,
I don't know about you.
I guess, man.
Jesus God. Oh my lord.
We should have
yeah.
that photo in the background of this video so people can see.
Honestly, I think we should do that. Editor's note for later. Yeah, whoever's editing this, you're putting that image in the back, please. That just seems beautiful. Dude, what if we put the round table like on the guy's head, or it's just like, oh,
put it
dude,
on the screen.
that's actually so funny. We put it on the screen, dude. You're so right.
We'll see. We'll figure it out later. For now, let's get back to the video.
Oh, exactly. Oh god, that's so funny. But yeah, no. Anyone? Do you guys want to talk about any like this part, like where the internet starts to become like a factor in fighting games and like online play is now available?
Sure. I'll talk about something real quick.
Go for it.
Mainly because I think it's really funny. So,
That's funny.
a funny story about like just online tournaments and stuff like that in general. So if you don't know, our good friend Guy here runs a Smash Brothers club. I won't say what. But it was a while ago. But one time we did a tournament. In fact, it was the Fetch Quest tournament that Brewer mentioned earlier.
Oh yeah, we mentioned this earlier and how we had a bigger pot than Nintendo Splatoon 3 majors. Yeah.
Yeah, but a part of that tournament was just a random online tournament with like items and just regular fun stuff like that. And in that tournament where we competed, I managed to beat what I'll say is probably who was probably one of the better opponents in that tournament, and a good friend of ours, Jack. I was able to beat. He's actually been on the podcast before, but I managed to beat him, and that has been the only tournament I've ever really competed in, and I just lord that over the fact that I was able to beat him, and I will permanently have a 1-0 record against him.
Remember, guys, always hoard that one when you got over your friends.
You have a 100% win rate over him, and he has to hold that.
He has to hold it forever, and I think it's really funny.
Now it's immortalized in this video as well. You lost, Jack. You lost.
Jack's Evo moment 37
to a Ridley player.
To a Ridley K-Rool player.
Oh, dude, I remember too. Oh my god, I won that tournament, and grand finals, I got 3-0'd. My entire strategy was just to be a little goober and play Pyro Mythra, use Mythra to pick up the items, and then Pyro to kill. It didn't work for the first set in grands, and then I switched to Rob set 2 and I won because I killed my opponent who was playing Falco at 20 because he up-B'd to the ledge and I timed it down there right. Oh my god, that was such a good memory.
That's hilarious.
I also, I did lie. I've technically competed in 2 tournaments, but the first one was held at our old high school for a guy held it at our old high school.
You held one at your high school?
Oh god, I do remember that, yes.
Oh, the only kind of sick, man.
See, you know, this is how I know it was a while ago, because Guy was unironically playing Pyro Mythra, because I think they had just came out. I think that's how
yeah,
far.
and I didn't. Oh my god, no! Shout outs to that tournament. Not only was it the first tournament I ever hosted, but I was so like new to tournament running that I did seeding as random, which was a horrible idea. I did single elimination, not double, which was also a terrible idea. I I had a $20 pot prize for first place.
Still better
Oh
than
my god!
Nintendo.
And the tournament was ran like immediately after school on a Friday, where most people had to leave within 20 minutes because of their carpools and whatnot, which was really funny.
The only other reason I remember that tournament is because I helped you a bunch with the setup and stuff like that. I
And I
literally
appreciate that so
I
much.
literally remember us sitting in the like lecture hall after class and me just helping you get players like controls mapped to like names and stuff like that. Um, and also because I was able to take a pirate down air as Ridley at like 155
That's
off
so
stage.
funny.
It was pretty funny.
Sounds
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
absolutely
the reason I
hilarious.
remember that specifically is because you just yelled out, "Oh my god!" and it echoed across the entire cafeteria.
Okay, to be fair though, to be fair, it was like I'm gonna call it a Smash Ultimate hitbox where like it shouldn't have hit, but it did.
Yeah,
Oh god. We're getting a little off topic. We're reminiscing here, and that's what it's all about. We're
Hey,
a
I mean,
podcast.
again,
We're all about it, yeah.
like I said, these tournaments start off with just a couple of dedicated players wanting to play the game some more, and having small grassroots events like that, which eventually start growing more and more into bigger events that more people want to attend. So
true.
that's
And-
awesome. Talk about you guys hosting a tournament in high school.
And now
Mad respect.
and now I'm head TO of a $1,000 tournament coming this August. Sign up for CC5. Sign up for CC5. October 4th. WCU $1,000. Sign up now.
Better than Nintendo.
Yeah, I had to do that. Sorry.
No, that's fair.
They don't have to know. They don't have to know. They don't have to know.
Do they know?
No. But yeah, no. Yeah, no. I'm actually kind of glad you brought that up because that is just like that was such a good time. Oh, I had such a good time running a tournament. And dude, thank you so much for helping with this setup and everything. I love how all of our teachers were watching us play as well, and they just got invested as well. It was so funny.
It was funny.
Oh god. But yeah, no.
I wish my
reminiscing
high school
done.
had something cool, cool like that. The only crazy thing that happened at my high school is there's like gigantic fight one day that ended in like 3 people getting tased.
Dude, Street Fighter IRL, let's go.
Yeah,
Jesus. But yeah,
The-
no.
the cops used
what's up?
Samus Zero Suit Samus Neutral B on some of the students that were acting up.
Jesus God. That's crazy. With that being said, guys, I think we're getting to that point. Oh, like a little wrapping up. We were off topic a little bit, but I think it's about time we reel it back in and just end the video. What do you guys think? Unless
I'm
you guys
down.
want to say some more. Yeah,
I'm down to start wrapping up.
Likewise.
Brewer Liam.
I'm good.
All right, cool. All right, cool. If you guys
I'm
want to start
down.
first, I'm down. Unless you want me to start. What's up,
I
Hunter?
think you'll have the most to say, so I think we should leave you to the end if you don't mind.
Go for it.
All right, then I shall go first. So as I said earlier, I've only really competed in 2 tournaments, which I'm fine with. I've never been really big on doing that stuff competitively, but I will always have a sort of, I guess, soft spot. Maybe it's because I associate with Guy a lot, but like I guess I've always had.
Hi.
Maybe you get associated with your one window for Jack. That means you're undefeated
True.
against him.
But yeah, I've always just sort of had a soft spot for tournaments and stuff like that. I like watching them from time to time. And I just think it's really cool how they've gotten more popular and like just are a big part of like fighting game culture and like just, I guess, the video game culture as a whole as well. I think it's really cool. And I just can't wait to see how the communities and stuff like that further grow and develop. And yeah, that's about it.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
awesome.
Who would like to go next?
I'll go next since I don't really have as much to say as you guys, especially because compared to everyone else here, I've barely competed or participated in tournaments. Well, at least ones that are fighting game related. But I do want to say this as, I guess, the representative of the filthy casuals. I just think it's awesome, like, how the scenes have kept getting bigger and bigger, because, you know, obviously you need a mix of, like, you know, a bunch of casuals who, like, will buy the game, but then also you need people who, like, want to bring the game to the next level and compete and just, like, keep getting, like, higher and higher with their skill to, like, get people interested in the game in the first place, and to also make it even worth it for these studios to develop the games at all. So I think it's awesome seeing, like, where this stuff has started from to where it is now, because also, like, back then, even arcade wise as well, like, video games weren't super popular, and, like, especially if you were trying to play them competitively, people would, like, kind of call you out for that, and it's, like, not seen as, like, a viable career at all. And well, I mean, it still isn't really a viable, super viable career, unfortunately, financially, but we're getting there. We're making steps, especially with bigger pot bonuses and whatnot. But I like the spot we're in now with fighting games, and I hope to just see things keep getting higher, and not even just with fighting games, but a lot of competitive games in general.
Dude, real.
Yeah, I think it's good that we talk about fighting games in particular, because, like you mentioned, fighting games are probably one of the more difficult ones to sell to, like, a friend, or also just to a general audience, because they're kind of hard to get into from an outsider looking in perspective, you know?
No, exactly. That's the thing about, like, fighting games, because, like, a lot of people think that, like, they're hard in terms of, like, oh, you need to do all this just to, like, win a game. It's like, no, you really don't. Like, obviously, like, mastering a fighting game is going to be difficult, but, like, so is mastering anything, you know what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah, it's just how it is. Liam, do you have any closing thoughts? Or sorry, are you done, Brewer?
Yeah, I'm done. Again, I don't have as much to say.
I didn't want to interrupt
compared to you guys. No, you're good. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. So, Liam, it's your turn.
Yeah, I probably am the most active when it comes to tournaments. I mean, at least currently. I regularly compete in Street Fighter tournaments right now, which is extremely fun. I think fighting game tournaments are super cool because it's a very visible way to show improvement in a game that's already pretty good at showing, like, improvement, but, like, it's kind of like a culmination that I really enjoy. And it allows you to, like, build a community very easily. I've made very good friends through a fighting tournament community, including Guy here. And so there's not many other communities I'd rather be a part of. So I'm very happy to be part of, like, a fighting game tournament. I love them. I don't think I'll stop anytime soon going to them. I want to go to more physical ones, but money is a thing and time is a thing. But yeah, no, it's a very, I love fighting game tournaments. I think they're super cool, super interesting, and they're very enjoyable.
Dude, so real.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
I guess that leaves me. Ooh.
Spicy.
Yeah. With fighting games, I'm glad we got to talk a little bit about the history. Obviously, we didn't go into, like, super details and everything. We kind of gave, like, a bare bones, like, outline of, like, how it, like, started and everything. But, like, I do think it is, like, kind of interesting to talk about just, like, how much has changed in the eras of, like, gaming that we're in. Because, like, the way we are right now with, like, fighting game tournaments and how they're set up just could not work back in the day, and they would not run well. But, like, because of the, like, adaptations we've made and because of the, like, changes we've made to video games overall to, like, accommodate that, I just feel like it's so awesome to, like, hit up a fighting game now, or like a local, like a fighting game online tournament, or just like a local, or hell, even a major, play a few games with someone, or even compete. And it's just really easy to do that nowadays. And not only that, but it's just really investing with tournaments that I've been to, at least. And I really am glad that we made this kind of video just to talk about like some of our experiences with them, but also just like give like an idea of like where they were and where they are now. Because like, again, fighting games like other genres are always constantly changing, but I feel like the fighting game like genre itself has just changed so much that like where it was is nowhere close to where it was now, which you could say for a lot of genres, but like I would say it's very different in the sense of like just how PvP oriented fighting games are.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Like an online shooter is always going to be an online shooter, but like Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 and Street Fighter 2 versus like Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat 1 now, nah, that's completely different. You know what I mean?
There also aren't that many. There are like still some, but like I'd say the biggest community for like older games right now would be a fighting game, because like you still have major tournaments with major like viewership for games that are like 20 years old, and I think that's so sick, because like no one's gonna watch a I guess it's the same. Any game can really do it, but I don't know. I'm biased because there's something special about with fighting games for me. So my point is mute, and I will shut up.
No, you're good. No, I get that though. I get that. Like, I guess that's also just because like fighting games like throughout the generations are just really different. So like some fans will like aspects of older games more than the newer games, so they'll just stick to that. Like that's what happened with Melee, Marvel vs. Capcom. That very much happened. Oh my god. There's still a very, very big audience for Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. Hell, we're now seeing some people go back to Tekken 7 over 8, but I feel like that's for a different reason. But like, no, that just remains like for every that. Yeah, we're not gonna get into that. Holy god, that is a ginormous fucking issue. But
hey bro, it's alright.
That's for a different video.
They can clutch if they bring the Waffle House stage in.
That'd be so funny. They could clutch, dog. Oh god, but that's for a different video. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode on fighting game tournaments and how they've evolved over time and our experiences with it. If you like this kind of content, you want to see more of it, please hit that like and subscribe button and comment down below some of your favorite fighting game experiences, whether it's from entering a local tournament, going to a major, hell, even just watching VODs and seeing your favorite player win. Tell us all about it in the comments below. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode. We've been FetchQuest, and this has been our episode on fighting game tournaments. Catch you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.